Hi guys, Peter Finch here, and I'm joined by Karl Morris for the second video in this Lost Art of Putting series. And in this video, we're going to be talking about how to cure the yips and how to focus your attention on what you need to do within your putting.
It's what you're doing, making me feel like I'm falling. And when you're moving, I can hear my calling. There's no one else here that I see but you. It's what you're doing that's making me feel like I'm falling.
Guys, make sure you hit that like button and comment below Cure My Yips. If you do that, Karl has very kindly donated a copy of the book to be won with each video. And if you do want to binge watch these videos, guys, if you click the link here, they are all in a playlist to consume straight away. Talk to me about attention. What is attention?
Yeah.
Attention.
I think the thing is, Peter, with attention, if there was a fundamental principle of the mental game, that's it. You know, you can either have the complicated version, which I don't really like, or the simple version is, with attention, whatever it is that you're doing, and we're talking about putting here, whatever it is that you're doing in life that you want to be good at, that you want to enjoy, your attention is always going to be in one of two places. It's either going to be on something that's useful to you for that task, or useless.
Okay.
Now, most golfers are incredibly good at putting their attention in useless places.
I can relate to that.
Yeah, and one of the things I'd suggest for everybody listening to this, my belief is that the individual is sovereign. That everybody, it's about, not me saying that this is the right way to do it or giving you a prescription, is actually uncovering what's the right way for you. So what I want everybody to become is what I call an attention detective. So become really aware of what you put your attention on, and does it work?
Okay, that's just a hashtag. It's just calling out for hashtag. Hashtag below, guys. Attention detective.
What we tend to find as a broad generalisation is that an awful lot of golfers get stuck by putting a huge amount of their attention on themselves.
Okay.
Now, I'm a great believer, working on a stroke, improving your technique, improving your mechanics, great. I'm all for that, but at the right time.
Okay.
When we get on the golf course and it becomes about the art of holding putts, you know, we find over and over again, the more your attention is on, you know, how you're moving the shoulders, wrists, trying to get the putter on perfect line, etc., the more it tends to dull your feel.
Okay.
The more it kind of reduces your ability to create vivid images. So we get very kind of left brain, very technical, which, as I say, has got its part to play to improve your stroke. But if your attention's on that on the golf course, good luck.
So it's that split of attention between technique practice, which you will be doing on the putting green and driving range, wherever, but actually on the course, changing that
The
focus,
ability
changing
to
that
switch that attention.
Which is hard. It's
It's
hard to do.
tough. The thing is, what happens is if you spend all your time training your attention to focus on technique, guess what you're going to take on the golf course? You're going to take that ability to think about technique on the golf course, and then it doesn't work on the golf course, and then where do you come back to fix it? You come back to the practice ground or the putting green. So it becomes this vicious circle, really. So it's having that ability to be able to switch your attention to something that's useful to get the ball in the hole. And again, as a generalisation, you know, we find, and we'll explore more in these videos, the more your attention is actually on what you want the golf ball to do, and the journey into the hole, the more your body then organises the movements necessary to make that happen.
So what we're going to have a look at now is some exercises that you can do, some drills that you can do to switch your attention away from your nerves. You know, if you are having the yips, if you are very nervous, over puts. These are 3 exercises that you can actually use. So what are you going to get me doing, Karl? I am Dave. I am.
Let's say you're Dave, and you've got very nervous about your putting, and you've got a bunch of people telling you that you're taking it on the inside, or you need to keep your shoulders square, and all this kind of stuff.
I don't have to be Dave for that.
So
People
we
do that
don't
anyway.
need Dave anyway, so we'll leave Dave out of it. So one exercise that makes an awful lot of sense from a yipping perspective is to actually hit some putts, Peter, and instead of focusing on you, I mean, actually, where do we want the ball to go? Ultimately. So hit me a bunch of putts where you're actually, all your attention is just on the hole, and you actually hit the putts while looking at the hole.
Okay, so Spieth-esque type of drill.
Yeah, Spieth-esque. And what I want you to do as you're actually hitting these putts, with your attention on the hole, is actually notice what the experience of the stroke is like.
Okay.
Notice how it feels compared to how it's been before.
Okay. So focus on the hole.
Shall we finish there? Wrap it up?
Done. What's even the point of carrying on these videos? I mean, seriously.
But seriously, what is interesting there is straight away what was your attention on?
Yeah.
Was the task.
Yeah.
With actually knocking the ball in the hole. Now, the fact that you've been playing the game for so long, you're a good player, is that your body knows what to do.
Yeah.
So we could argue then that what happened is that when your attention was very much on the hole, that you actually organised movement around that task.
Okay.
You organised movement around where your attention was,
Yeah.
without thinking about it.
That would make sense.
What was the experience of the stroke like then?
A little bit weird because I wasn't thinking about it.
Yeah.
I was trying to get a sensation of it, but I was very much focused on the hole, so I wasn't overthinking.
So isn't it interesting that when your attention shifts away from technique, actually some interesting things show up with your technique?
Yeah, I like that. So I am now just going to be looking at the hole every time I hit a putt. But what are some
But it's
other
not so much the
exercises?
looking at the hole that's the key takeaway from these. It's about when your attention shifts somewhere different that it hasn't been before.
Okay.
You know, as I say, if you've get people listening, watching the videos, have had trouble yipping and are so consumed with an impact, actually when you're actually looking at the hole, it takes away that anticipation of impact, which basically that's what the yips are. You're anticipating an impact and your body flinches
And that's where you-
as a result of it. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool, awesome. Right, so what are some of the other exercises that we can use?
Another good one. We've one of the contributors in the book, probably the foremost expert in the world on the yips, or one of the foremost expert, Debbie Cruz, and one of her favourite drills to help people is actually when you hitting a putt, is just to anticipate where you would finish if you'd hit a good putt. So where would the follow through finish if you'd actually hit a good putt?
Okay. And then just trying to get to that point.
So all your attention, instead of now being worried about what's going on here, you'd have a practice stroke. Okay, where would a good putt finish? That's it. Okay. Now as you then step into it, that is your goal to get to that point.
So nothing technical, nothing
Nothing
like that.
technical. Your goal is just to get to that point of where a good finish would feel.
That was quite weird. That was
That
quite
was weird in a good way.
Yeah, in quite a good way. I almost found myself, I don't know, I kind of found myself, my eyes almost drifted up there as well.
Okay.
Trying to see that. That was quite strange.
Try it again. So have the practice stroke first, where you just put yourself into where a good stroke would finish. That's it. Okay. And then your goal is to actually get to that finish position.
Okay. Okay.
So all of a sudden now, when our attention is on where am I going to finish, there's less anticipation
Yeah, I
of
mean,
that impact.
I wasn't thinking about impact then. I wasn't thinking about my backstroke either, actually. I was just literally focused on that one point. So again, this is the shift of attention.
It's the shift of attention. It's the shift of attention relative to the task. So we're moving our attention to potentially a useful place. You know, if you've had the yips for a number of years and your attention is always on the feeling of the yip, you'd have to say that's not particularly useful to you. And if you've been drowning in technique, maybe that's not particularly useful. Right. But the point I keep stressing this, is for each individual to just become curious about what would work for them.
Yeah.
This isn't a prescription that Karl says everybody's got to do this. It's about becoming curious about where your attention is.
I like that.
Does it work? If it doesn't work, guess what?
Don't need to use
Shift it somewhere else.
Yeah. Okay. I
Play
like
around
that.
with it.
Okay, I like that. So what's the last one? We've got one more.
Another technique that you can do, what the sort of motor learning brain body research suggests is that if somebody's got really, really bad yips, it's almost kind of like the brain body pathway has become distorted, if you like. The pathway of the movement is kind of like impaired a little bit.
Okay, because that is all movement is, guys. There's just neural connections in your brain that have become formed, which then allow you to repeat a certain pattern. So if something in there isn't connecting properly, that's when...
What is worth trying then, or experimenting with, is a complete shift in terms of technique.
Right, okay.
And the more radical, the better. Because
Okay.
if you've always putted in a very conventional style like this, if you radically alter it, you know, split your hands a long way, or you put with the claw, the pencil, or whatever it is, if it's a radically different movement, you're actually recruiting a whole new set of neurons to actually learn that movement. So it does make sense of why this radical change would work.
I suppose that's Bernard Langer's style of putting, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, he suffered with
3 or 4 occasions he had the yips.
very big changes. weren't
Radical
they?
change
Huge
in the
changes.
technique. I mean, we know that the yips occur in the long game, and it's a little bit more difficult to have radical changes in the long game, you know, standing there with your driver holding it down here or whatever. But with putting, you can actually knock yourself out in the sense that, you know, there's a lot of scope of how, you know, going back way in the sort of annals of time, the story about Sam Snead, you know, he putted, what was it, side saddle?
Yeah, side saddle, wasn't
and
it?
then it was made illegal, wasn't it?
Wasn't that one, wasn't it? Yeah.
You know, and that again is, it's not so much the side saddle that's the key there, it's that it's a radical shift, it's a completely different technique that's recruiting a new set of neurons. And the other thing that's worth mentioning on this, Pete, is that that relates to the first video that we did, if you radically change your technique, guess what? You're starting a new story.
Yeah, and then you can start...
You can start to build the new story around that.
So I'll talk to yourself about how good that new putting grip is and...
How it feels different, how you're learning something new, etc.
Right. How
So let's have something really different here.
How radically different can
Get
we
as
go?
radical as you like.
Okay, so I call this the crocodile grip. So it's snapping down on there. I'll literally just come up with that. Oh, let's call it the alligator grip.
I like it.
Don't like crocodiles, they're really mean. So into there, and oh dear, okay, I can get my eyes over it.
We could just pioneer a new fix for the yips.
So we've got the crocodile grip.
We've got the crocodile.
Let's think of some more animals. Let's go. I'm gonna go flamingo. I'm gonna go flamingo grip onto there as well. Little flamingo stance as well. I mean, this is obviously ridiculous, but like it's that type.
But it's ridiculous in a good way, because what you're doing is you get, and also, by the way, isn't it amazing how, however you hold it, because of your ability that's within you, your body can still organise the putter to knock it in the hole.
To actually knock it in
without
there.
trying to be perfect. All of a sudden now, you're not trying to make perfect strokes, you're just actually playing around.
Yeah.
You're just actually playing around with something completely different. And, you know, we don't do enough of that at golf.
No.
You know, there was a great coach years ago Fred Shoemaker said to me, he said, with putting, and it blew me away when he said, do you actually enjoy your putting stroke? And I kind of, first thing I thought, no, I don't enjoy it, Fred, because it keeps missing. But it made a lot of sense, because if you actually, and you think about some of the greatest putters in the history of the game, you know, I'm old enough to remember Isao Aoki, who broke the Japanese golfer, who broke literally every rule in putting. He used to stand there, the putter was like this, the toe was up in the air, he picked it up and chopped across it and hold everything. And the point Fred was making, you know, if you can organise yourself and make a movement that actually just feels good in its own sense, just for the joy of the movement.
And the history of the game is littered with examples of that. You've got your Jack Nicklaus, you've got your Gary Player, you've got your Bobby Locke. Bobby Locke, best one of all time. So he was kind of aiming out to the right of the hole, and he was coming through and basically
hooking everything in.
This is silly now. Yeah. So
it's just being in my presence, you see, that's done all that.
The flamingo, the crocodile, and the Bobby Locke. That's basically it. So guys, stay tuned and watch the bookshops for the best-selling putting instructional book coming out from me and Karl, The Crocodile, the Flamingo, and Bobby Locke. Right, Karl, that was absolutely awesome.
Really enjoyed that, Peter.
Really, really good, guys. Hopefully you found that useful. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure that you comment below for a chance to win a copy of the book. Go into the description below if you do want to binge watch this series, or click the link here for the playlist. Make sure you follow me and Karl on our social media, which is all linked in the description below. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and we'll see you down here next time for the next video.